let's be real. Sometimes you meet someone and it feels like fireworks, and other times it feels like you're trying to text on 1% battery, dead on arrival. Astrology can tell you exactly why this happens. Today we are zooming in on the aspects that reveal whether they are your perfect match or your next big lesson. Now, before we dive in, here's the disclaimer. Synastry, which is just astrology's fancy word for compatibility, is way more complicated than one or two placements. There are dozens of factors in a chart that can change the whole story. And honestly, astrology isn't the only thing holding a relationship together. Careers, timing, distance, messy exes, or even the way someone lost the dishwasher. Those things matter too. What we're doing today isn't the whole novel, it's just the first chapter. These are the placements you'd normally check first to see if someone has a potential to be your perfect match. So here's what we actually diving into today. The placements that really matter when it comes to love. Forget just sun signs. We're talking moon, Venus, rising, Mars, and Mercury. These are the parts of your chart that show how you connect emotionally, how you love, how you fight, and how you vibe at first sight. And we're not stopping there. I'll also break down some of the old school compatibility rules, like why men should look at their Venus, why women should look at their Jupiter, and that classic Moon-Venus combo that astrologers swear is relationships superglue. By the end of this, you'll know exactly which placements to line up in your chart versus theirs, so you can tell if you found a cosmic match or just a pretty distraction. When most people think about compatibility, the first thing they ask is, I'm a Leo, they are Pisces, does that mean we are doomed? That's sun sign compatibility. It's the version of astrology you see in every meme or magazine horoscope. And while the sun does matter, it shows your core personality, your ego, the way you shine. It's only one piece of the puzzle. Yes, sun signs by element can give you quick hints. Fire and air signs usually get along easily because they feed each other's energy, like Aries and Gemini, always hyping each other up. Earth and water signs also pair well, creating stable, nurturing bonds, like Taurus and Cancer building a cozy little world together. Cross elements can feel exciting but tricky. Fire and water, passionate but sometimes volatile. Earth with air, stimulating but often mismatched. But here's the catch. Sun compatibility tells you how your personalities vibe in public, how you look together on the surface. It doesn't tell you how you'll actually feel when you're alone. A Leo sun with a Sagittarius sun might be Instagram goal, all adventure and laughter. But if their moons clash, behind the scenes they might never feel truly secure. A Cancer sun with a Capricorn sun might sound opposite but balanced. But if their Venuses can't connect, the romance might feel dry. So yes, sun signs are a starting point. They explain why some pairs click instantly and others don't. But if you stop at the sun, you're basically judging a book by its cover. Real compatibility comes from what's underneath. The rising and descendant, first attraction and your type. The moon, emotional safety. Mercury, communication. Venus, love style, and Mars, chemistry. The sun might bring you two together, but it won't keep you there. The rising sign is your front door. It's how you show up in the world before people even know your name. It's the vibe, the energy, the way you carry yourself. That's why rising compatibility is about first impressions. The instant chemistry you feel or don't when you meet someone. Ever had that moment when you meet someone and it just clicks? Like you don't know their last name, but you're already making inside jokes. That's rising sign chemistry. And on the flip side, sometimes you meet someone and everything feels awkward. Not bad, just like you're on two different frequencies. That's rising compatibility too. Here's how it works. Rising signs in the same element usually get along right away. Fire risings, Aries, Leo, Sagittarius, recognize each other instantly. Aries rising meets Leo rising, boom. Big energy, playful competition. The kind of first date where you're laughing too loud and accidentally overshare. Add Sagittarius rising into the mix and suddenly you've got a trio that decides to road trip after knowing each other for 24 hours. Fire risings light each other up, though sometimes it can feel like a little too much heat in one room. Earth risings, Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn, tend to feel safe around each other. That's a grounded familiarity. A Virgo rising with a Capricorn rising might instantly bond over practical jokes, shared routines, or just appreciating that the other person doesn't seem chaotic. dynamic. Taurus rising adds sensual warmth to the mix. Together, Earth risings give off "I trust you" vibes. Sometimes it feels less like sparks and more like a mortgage consultation. Water risings, Cancer, Scorpio, Pisces, often feel like kindred spirits. They read each other's vibes without words. A Cancer rising with a Pisces rising feels cozy and almost psychic. Like, did we just have the same thought at the same time? A Scorpio rising brings intensity, which can make the others feel safe or sometimes overwhelmed. Together, water signs create instant emotional depth. Great for people who want to dive in quickly. A little much for those who prefer a slow build. Air risings, Gemini, Libra, Aquarius, are the social connectors. Put them together and you've got witty banter, clever conversation, and playful chemistry. Gemini rising with Aquarius rising, endless jokes, conspiracy theories, staying up until 2 a.m. talking. Libra rising adds charm, making everything feel like a meet-cute. The vibe here is fun, fresh, and lighthearted. The risk? Sometimes it feels like friendship first, romance second. Now here's where it gets juicy. Cross-element rising compatibility. Fire risings often click with air risings. They feed each other's energy. Aries rising with Gemini rising, immediate spark, endless banter, chemistry that feels electric. Libra rising with Leo rising, picture perfect couple vibes. Sagittarius rising with Aquarius rising, partners in crime. Together they feel adventurous, but sometimes too restless for their own good. Earth risings usually vibe with water risings. One provides grounding, the other provides emotional depth. Taurus rising with Cancer rising, cozy, sensual, feels like home. Virgo rising with Scorpio rising, mutually obsessed with analyzing everything. In a good way, if they don't spiral. Capricorn rising with Pisces rising, power couple meets dreamer, and somehow it balances. But when rising signs square each other, that's when first impressions can feel off. An Aries rising with the Cancer rising may irritate each other at first. Aries is all bold and fast. Cancer is cautious and guarded. A Leo rising with a Scorpio rising might feel an odd mix of attraction and intimidation. They can absolutely work once the deeper chart kicks in, but the initial vibe is tricky. And then there's the Descendant factor, because remember, your rising sign, your ascendant, points straight to your descendant, and that's what you secretly crave in others. So sometimes rising compatibility feels weird because your ascendant saying yay, we click, but your descendant is quietly waiting for something else. That's why you can get along great with someone at first, but not feel pulled toward commitment. The real magnetism often happens when someone's sun, moon, Venus, or Mars lands on your descendant. That's when the "oh no, you're my type" moment kicks in. So rising compatibility is like the appetizer. It explains instant chemistry, those quick friendships, those "we just get along" vibes. It's fun, it's easy, it sets the tone. But the descendant, that's the main course. That's the shadowy part of your chart. That explains why you're always attracted to a certain type, even if you swore you wouldn't go for them again. If your rising sign is the front door you show the world, your descendant is the back door you leave unlocked. It's the sign directly opposite your ascendant, sitting on the cusp of your 7th house of relationships. And it's not about how you show up, it's about what you're drawn to in other people. The descendant is the energy you crave in a partner, often without even realizing it. It's your cosmic type, for better or worse. Sometimes it shows up as attraction, sometimes as obsession, and sometimes as "why do I always end up dating the same kind of person?" Spoiler, blame your descendant. Let's walk through it. Aries rising, Libra descendant. On the outside, Aries risings are bold, direct, independent. They don't need anyone, at least that's what they tell you. But behind the curtain, their descendant whispers, "I want someone who balances me, who brings harmony and partnership energy." That's why Aries risings often attract Libras, or people with strong Venus placements. They are fiery on their own, but they secretly crave someone who knows how to soften the edges and keep the peace. Taurus rising, Scorpio descendant. Taurus risings look grounded, calm, reliable, the rock in a storm. But their descendant is Scorpio, which means they are secretly turned on by intensity. They attract people who are magnetic, passionate, maybe even a little dangerous. Taurus risings say they want peace, but somehow they always end up in deep, transformative relationships that shake their world. Gemini rising, Sagittarius descendant. Gemini risings are curious, witty, light-hearted, but their descendant craves Sagittarius energy. Someone adventurous, blunt, big picture, sometimes reckless. Gemini rising might swear they want consistency, but their heart races when someone offers to whisk them away at midnight for an impromptu trip. Cancer rising, Capricorn descendant. Cancer risings radiate warmth, nurture, softness. But the partner energy they crave is Capricorn, grounded, ambitious, structured. They are drawn to people who take charge, build empires, and give them a sense of stability. Cancer rising might look like the caretaker, but deep down they want a partner who can be the backbone. Leo rising, Aquarius descendant. Leo risings shine bright, full of charisma and presence, but they are attracted to Aquarius qualities. Partners who are unique, independent, maybe a little unconventional. Leo risings love the spotlight, but their descendant pulls them toward people who won't just admire them, but also challenge them to think differently. Virgo rising, Pisces descendant. Virgo risings present as organized, grounded, analytical. They are the problem solvers, but their descendant is Pisces, so they are drawn to dreamers, romantics, and free spirits. Virgo rising swear they want stability, but they end up falling with people who feel magical, elusive, or slightly chaotic. It's the classic "I'll fix you" trap. Libra rising, Aries descendant. Libra risings look charming, diplomatic, and easy to get along with, but they crave Aries energy in partners. Boldness, passion, someone who goes after what they want. Libra risings may say they like calm, but their relationships light up when someone brings fire and initiative. Scorpio rising, Taurus descendant. Scorpio risings radiate depth and intensity. They are magnetic and sometimes intimidating, but their descendant is Taurus, so they crave stability and loyalty. They are drawn to people who ground them, soothe their storm, and provide sensual comfort. It's the magnet meets anchor dynamic. Sagittarius rising, Gemini descendant. Sagittarius risings are adventurous, optimistic, and expensive, but they are drawn to Gemini qualities: wit, playfulness, curiosity. They want partners who keep them on their toes, make them laugh, and challenge them with clever banter. Sagittarius risings can't resist someone who feels like both a lover and a best friend. Capricorn rising, Cancer descendant. Capricorn risings look composed, ambitious, and maybe a little intimidating, but their descendant craves Cancer energy, nurturing, softness, emotional depth. They are secretly drawn to people who take care of them in ways they can't always admit they need. It's power paired with vulnerability. Aquarius rising, Leo descendant. Aquarius risings come off cool, independent, maybe even detached, but they crave Leo energy, someone warm, expressive, loyal, and proud to be with them. Aquarius risings say they value independence above all else, but they secretly melt for a partner who showers them with love and affection. Pisces rising, Virgo descendant. Pisces risings are dreamy, empathetic, and ethereal, but their descendant is Virgo, practical, grounded, detail-oriented. They are drawn to partners who keep their feet on the ground while they float in the clouds. It's the dreamer paired with a realist, the artist with the accountant. That's the thing about the descendant. It's the archetype you are pulled toward, whether you consciously choose it or not. If someone's sun, moon, Venus, or Mars falls near your descendant, you'll feel it instantly. Like they just walked into your life with a neon sign saying, "I am your type." And sometimes it's beautiful, the missing piece, the perfect puzzle. Other times it's chaos. You keep attracting the shadow side of that descendant energy until you learn how to work with it consciously. So if you ever caught yourself saying, "Why do I always end up with this kind of person?" check your descendant. It's not random. It's literally written in your chart. And here's the thing. A strong rising and descendant connection can get you through the first date, maybe even the honeymoon phase. What it doesn't guarantee is whether you feel safe staying. That's where the moon comes in. Because the moon rules your emotions emotional world? What makes you feel comfortable, cared for, and understood? The rising is attraction, the hook. The descendant is the mirror, the type you're magnetized toward. But the moon is what determines whether that spark actually lasts. Once the excitement settles and you're left with real life. The moon in astrology is your emotional wiring. It's what makes you feel at home in love. Not the glamorous butterflies on the first date kind of thing, but the can I ugly cry in front of you without being judged kind of thing. When two people's moons connect, you feel like you're speaking the same emotional language. No subtitles needed. When they clash, you can still love each other, but it's like you're pouring your heart out in Spanish while they're nodding back in German. Now, people always talk about sun sign compatibility by element. Fire goes with air, earth goes with water. That works for personality vibes. Two fire signs like Aries and Leo will hype each other up, love adventure, and probably post matching selfies from a road trip. But moon compatibility by element is way deeper. It's not just how you act in the world, it's how you feel safe at home behind closed doors. Take water moons, Cancer, Scorpio, Pisces. These are the empath. They feel everything and want closeness. A Cancer moon with a Pisces moon can create a bubble of tenderness, where both people feel cared for without even asking. Add Scorpio and suddenly it's a soul bond territory. Intense, magnetic, and maybe a little suffocating if you're not careful. Same element moons here aren't just vibing. They are literally curled up in the same emotional blanket. Earth moons, Taurus, Capricorn, Virgo, approach feelings in a grounded way. They show love through stability, routines, and practical support. A Virgo moon with a Capricorn moon is like a power couple with matching planners. Their I love you sounds more like I fixed the Wi-Fi or I picked up dinner. Compare that to two Earth suns, which might just mean they both like reliable careers or sensible shoes. The moons make it intimate. It's less about image, more about trust. Fire moons, Aries, Leo, Sagittarius, need passion, honesty, and excitement. Two fire suns together can be fun on the outside. Great banter, lots of selfies. But two fire moons together? That's emotional fireworks. An Aries moon with a Leo moon will fight loud, love loud, and probably make up even louder. A Sagittarius moon with an Aries moon, adventure, spontaneity, and maybe a few will figure it out when we land moments. When the moons align in fire, it's not just shared fun, it's shared emotional fuel. Gemini, Libra, Aquarius process emotions through logic, conversation, and humor. And Gemini moon with an Aquarius moon can talk all night, love through arguments, and feel instantly understood. Compare that to two air suns, which might just make them both social butterflies at parties. Air moons together create a sense of freedom in love, like best friends who never run out of things to say. Where it gets interesting is where moons are in complementary elements. Just like suns, fire and air usually click, and earth and water usually flow together. But again, with moons it's deeper. A Taurus moon with a Cancer moon isn't just practical person meets nurturing person. It's I'll keep you safe meets I'll take care of you, which builds a homey, stable bond. A Sagittarius moon with a Libra moon isn't just two people who like fun. It's one person who needs freedom, paired with someone who understands and encourages it emotionally. That's where moon compatibility really sets itself apart. It's not just what looks good on paper, it's what feels right at 3 a.m. when life isn't Instagrammable. Now, beyond elements, the angles between moons, what astrologers call aspects, add another layer. When two moons are in the same sign, that's called conjunction. It's cozy, like you just get each other. Two Leo moons will hype each other up endlessly. Constant compliments. Date nights that feel like red carpet events. But also, who gets to be the star? Two Virgo moons both crave order and clarity, so they will understand each other's anxieties perfectly. Maybe a little too perfectly. It can start to feel like a worry competition. When moons are in a trine, signs that are 120 degrees apart, usually the same element, as harmony. A Taurus moon with a Virgo moon flows naturally. Taurus brings security, Virgo brings attentiveness, and together they build a stable, caring life. This is the couple that gets a joint Costco membership and somehow makes it sexy. A sextile, 60 degrees apart, between friendly elements, is a little lighter. like Cancer moon with Taurus moon. Cancer brings the nurturing, Taurus brings the grounding, and together they create a safe but sweet rhythm. It's easy, like slipping into your favorite hoodie. But then there are the squares, 90 degrees apart. That's tension, attraction, and irritation rolled into one. Picture a Leo moon who needs fun, drama, and validation, paired with a Scorpio moon who craves emotional depth and privacy. Leo thinks Scorpio is too intense. Scorpio thinks Leo is too shallow. But neither one can fully walk away. Squares are like, I can't live with you, but I also can't stop texting you at 2 a.m. And finally, oppositions, 180 degrees apart. These feel like a tug of war. You're drawn to each other because you balance one another, but you're also constantly annoyed for the exact same reasons you attracted. Take Cancer moon versus Capricorn moon. Cancer moon wants emotional openness, affection, home-cooked meals. Capricorn wants structure, ambition, control. Together they can balance. One handles the heart, the other handles the hustle. But if they don't meet in the middle, it's you're too needy versus you're too cold. And suddenly it's less soulmate, more standoff. And here's the kicker. Moon compatibility explains those moments where you just know someone feels right, even if the rest of the chart doesn't scream soulmate. It's the safe space, the emotional glue. Two people with moons that vibe will relax into each other, like they finally took off a pair of two tight jeans. But if the moons clash, it doesn't mean it's doomed. It just means you're in hard mode. You'll misunderstand each other in the most vulnerable moment. And if you can't bridge that gap, love starts to feel like a never-ending group project with no deadline. So if you're wondering whether someone is truly your safe space or just a flame with good lightning and great selfies, look at the moons. That's where the heart of compatibility actually lives. If the moon shows what you need to feel safe, Venus shows what you actually want in love. Venus is your taste, is your type, the way you flirt, the way you give and receive affection, and the vibe you're drawn to when it comes to romance. Where the moon is about comfort and emotional survival, Venus is about attraction, aesthetics, and desire. Think of it this way. Your sun is who you are. Your moon is what you need, but your Venus is what makes your heart skip a beat. And here's the difference between Venus and the moon in compatibility. Moon matches make you feel like home, while Venus matches make you feel butterflies. You can have amazing moon compatibility and feel safe, but if your Venuses clash, the relationship may feel flat, like living with a roommate who takes great care of you, but never makes your stomach flip. On the other hand, if your Venuses light each other up, but your moons don't match, you'll have sparks but no stability. Fun for a while, but eventually draining. Venus compatibility starts with the elements, because each Venus sign loves in its own style. Earth Venus, Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn, craves something real and lasting. These are the partners who prove love through actions, not words. Venus in Taurus loves loyalty and comfort. They want touch, devotion, and a relationship that feels steady. Picture a partner who remembers your favorite snack, rubs your shoulders when you've had a long day, and would never dream of ghosting. Venus in Virgo shows love by fixing things, anticipating needs, and making your life easier. They'll notice the little details and quietly make sure you're okay. Venus in Capricorn wants something that grows stronger over time. They love through loyalty, ambition, and a sense of building a future. Their I love you might sound like I see us 10 years from now, and I am already making it happen. Earth Venuses are sensual but grounded. Romance looks like candlelight and a 5-year plan. Water Venus, Cancer, Scorpio, Pisces is all about depth and intimacy. These signs love with their whole heart. Venus in Cancer nurtures. They'll cook your favorite meal, tuck you into bed, and give you the kind of affection that feels like home. Venus in Scorpio loves with intensity. When they're all in. They crave devotion, trust, and intimacy that feels almost psychic. But they can also be jealous or possessive if they don't feel secure. Venus in Pisces is romantic and dreamy, the kind who writes poetry for you, or falls in love after one magical weekend together. Water Venuses want to merge, to feel like the relationship is more than two people. It's one soul. That's beautiful, but also overwhelming if both partners don't know how to come up for air. Fire Venus, Aries, Leo, Sagittarius, is bold, passionate, and dramatic in love. They want excitement, fun, and partners who keep the spark alive. Venus in Aries falls fast and loves the chase. They want passion, spontaneity, and someone who keeps things interesting. Venus in Leo wants adoration, romance, and a partner who makes them feel special. They'll give the same in return, showering their lover with warmth and loyalty. But they also need to be appreciated. Venus in Sagittarius loves freedom, laughter, and adventure. They show love by inviting you into their world of fun, road trips, late-night adventures, and lots of let's just try it. Fire Venuses keep their romance exciting, but sometimes they run hot and burn out just as fast if things start feeling stagnant. Air Venus, Gemini, Libra, Aquarius, approaches love with the mind first. They fall for charm, wit, and conversation. Venus in Gemini loves banter, humor, and someone who can keep them mentally stimulated. They flirt through words and can be endlessly curious about their partner. Venus in Libra craves balance, beauty, and romance. They love the idea of love itself and often go out of their way to make the relationship feel like a partnership. Venus in Aquarius wants uniqueness and freedom. They love a partner who's also a best friend, someone who gives them space while sharing their quirks. Air Venuses are often playful, flirty, and light. Love feels like a fun experiment, a shared adventure of the mind. When two people's Venuses are in the same element, love feels easy. Two Earth Venuses want the same kind of stability and loyalty. The couple that saves receipts for tax season, but also never forgets anniversaries. Two Fire Venuses keep each other entertained, constantly planning adventures and pushing each other toward excitement. Two Water Venuses build a bond so deep that sometimes it feels like nobody else exists in their world. And two Air Venuses, that's endless texting, banter, and shared inside jokes. Best friends who also happen to be lovers. When Venuses are in complementary elements, there's chemistry with balance. Fire and air bring stimulation and playfulness. Picture a Sagittarius Venus with a Gemini Venus. Both love adventure, both need freedom, and together they keep things light and exciting. Earth and water bring stability and intimacy. A Taurus Venus with a Cancer Venus feels nurturing and sensual. Taurus gives grounding, Cancer gives tenderness, and together they create a love that feels both safe and romantic. But when Venuses clash, attraction can turn into frustration. Take Taurus Venus with Sagittarius Venus. Taurus wants to nest, Sagittarius wants to wander. At first, it's magnetic. One feels safe, the other feels exciting. But eventually, Taurus complains about being abandoned, while Sagittarius complains about being smothered. Or Venus in Libra with Venus in Scorpio. Libra wants harmony, balance, and pretty Instagram couple photos, while Scorpio wants obsession, loyalty, and intimacy so deep it borders on psychic. Libra might feel overwhelmed, while Scorpio might feel like Libra is too shallow. Venus compatibility also shows up in aspects. When your Venus connects with someone's moon, that's relationship glue. It means the way you show love matches their emotional needs. If your Venus is in Pisces and their moon is in Cancer, you'll naturally care for them in a way that feels nourishing to them. It's love and comfort rolled into one. When Venus connects with Mars, that's where the sparks fly. Venus is what I like, Mars is how I go after it. Put them together and the chemistry can be magnetic. Venus in Aries with Mars in Leo, explosive passion, fireworks all the time. Venus in Virgo with Mars in Pisces, attraction is there, but one is detail-oriented, while the other is dreamy. It's a mismatch of tempo that can feel frustrating. So if the moon is about safety, Venus is about romance. The moon says, do I feel at home with you? Venus says, do I like how you love me and does it turn me on? When the moons and Venuses line up, that's when love feels both comfortable and exciting. When they don't, that's when you get relationships that are either too flat or too chaotic. That's the magic of Venus in Synastry. It's the difference between someone who just feels like a friend and someone who makes your heart race every time they walk into the room. So if the moon is about safety and Venus is about sweetness, Mars is about raw energy. It's your drive, your passion, how you fight, how you go after what you want. And yes, it's also sex. In Synastry, Mars shows the spark between two people. Is it a slow burn, a raging wildfire, or no fire at all? Unlike the moon, which whispers, "Do I feel safe with you?" or Venus, which asks, "Do I like how you love me?" Mars is blunt, is primal. It's that thing that makes you want to rip someone's clothes off in the elevator, or makes every argument turn into a shouting match. When Mars compatibility is good, there's chemistry you can't fake. When it's bad, it feels like two people living in constant friction, where even deciding what to eat for dinner becomes a battle royale. Mars, like the others, works through the elements. Fire Mars, Aries, Leo, Sagittarius. These are bold, dramatic, and unapologetic in their desires. Mars in Aries is impatient. They see, they want, they act. They love fast, fight fast, and forgive fast. Put them with another fire Mars, and that's thriller. Aries with Leo, for example, is big gestures, playful fights, and endless passion. But Mars in Aries with Mars in Aries, two hotheads both wanting the last word. Great in bed, exhausting everywhere else. Mars in Leo is expressive, loyal, but dramatic. They want admiration and love to perform their passion. The type to plan a big romantic gesture just to prove a point. Mars in Sagittarius is adventurous, restless, and fun. They'll sweep you off your feet, but good luck pinning them down. Together, Fire Mars placements create relationships that are full of spontaneity and passion, but sometimes they burn out fast if there's no stability underneath. Earth Mars, Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn. These move slower, but once they commit, it's steady and unstoppable. Mars in Taurus is sensual, stubborn, and loyal. They love physical affection and consistency. They may not chase, but they'll stay. Mars in Virgo is attentive, precise, and focused. The type who notices what turns you on and files it away for later. They're service-oriented but can also be critical if they think you are not putting in effort. Mars in Capricorn is ambitious, controlled, and strategic. They approach passion the way they approach goals, with focus and determination. Put Earth Mars with Water Mars, and you get a great combo of sensuality and emotional depth. But two Earth Mars together, it can be loyal and steady, or boring if nobody shakes things up. Water Mars, Cancer, Scorpio, Pisces. These are emotional, intuitive, and often intense. Mars in Cancer fights sideways, passive-aggressive, protective, but deeply caring. They'll fight for their family and the people they love, but they can sulk if hurt. Mars in Scorpio is infamous, magnetic, passionate, and often overwhelming. They are the type who can lock eyes across the room and make you nervous. It's depth, intensity, and obsession all rolled into one. Mars in Pisces is softer, imaginative, romantic, and indirect. They might not chase in a traditional way, but they create chemistry through mystery and emotional closeness. Water Mars placements can create incredible emotional intimacy in relationships, but the challenge is that when they are hurt, they don't fight clean, they fight deep. Air Mars, Gemini, Libra, Aquarius. This bring mental stimulation into passion. Mars in Gemini is flirty, playful, and restless. They get turned on by conversation, by variety, and by keeping things interesting. Mars in Libra is charming, diplomatic, and focused on harmony. They'll argue if they have to, but they'd rather seduce than fight. Mars in Aquarius is unconventional, surprising, and independent. They want freedom in passion and will turn you on with their originality. Air Mars placements often bring spark through curiosity and ideas, but when paired with Earth or Water Mars, they can feel inconsistent and unreliable. When two people's Mars placements align, you feel it instantly. A Mars-Venus match especially is magnetic. If your Venus lines up with someone's Mars, that's sparks in the room. A Venus in Leo with Mars in Aries, explosive passion, constant fireworks. A Venus in Virgo with Mars in Pisces, attraction is there, but it can feel mismatched. One wants structure, the other wants fantasy. Mars can also clash with the moon. If your Mars squares their moon, what excites you may overwhelm them emotionally. That's great for short-term heat, but tough for long-term peace. Mars aspects also shape the tone of a relationship. Mars trines and sextiles feel natural. Arguments are productive. Chemistry is effortless. Mars conjunctions are powerful. You're on the same page, but it can feel overwhelming, like living with your twin flame and your biggest rival in one body. Mars squares, that's constant tension. Maybe great sex, but also constant power struggles. Mars oppositions are love-hate. You're irresistibly drawn to each other, but also you drive each other crazy. That's the thing about Mars compatibility. It makes or breaks the passion. Without it, the relationship can feel flat. No matter how compatible your moons and Venuses are. With too much of it, the relationship can feel like a roller coaster. Thrilling, but exhausting. The sweet spot is when Mars keeps the spark alive without turning every disagreement into World War II. So if the moon asks, "Do I feel safe with you?" and Venus asks, "Do I like how you love me?" Mars is asking, "Do I want you?" Get the answer right and you'll never wonder where the heat went. Get it wrong and you'll either fight like crazy or feel like you're living with your sibling. Either way, Mars always keeps things interesting. Now let's talk about Mercury. Mercury is about how you talk. It's your communication style, your sense of humor, your way of processing information. In relationships, Mercury compatibility can be the difference between we talked it out and laughed and we just had a 6-hour fight over text because neither of us feels understood. Mercury signs show whether your minds click. It's the banter, the way you solve problems, the kind of jokes you think are funny, even how you fight. Great Mercury compatibility feels like being best friends who can talk about anything. Bad Mercury compatibility? You're constantly interrupting each other, or worse, you're having the same fight on repeat because you literally communicate in different languages. Let's break it down by element. Fire Mercury. Aries, Leo, Sagittarius talks fast, direct, and passionately. They get to the point, sometimes too bluntly, but you'll never wonder what they're thinking. Put two fire Mercuries together, and the conversation is exciting, playful, and a little chaotic. Aries Mercury with a Leo Mercury, loud debates, lots of banter, and plenty of "we're both right" energy. Sagittarius Mercury brings the jokes and big ideas, but sometimes forgets the details. Earth Mercury, Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn is grounded, practical, and detail-oriented. They like clear communication and logical solutions. Virgo Mercury will pick apart every detail. Capricorn Mercury will strategize, and Taurus Mercury will take their sweet time making a point. Two Earth Mercuries together feel steady and rational. They'll solve problems efficiently, but it can also feel a little dry if there's no spark elsewhere. Pair Earth Mercury with Fire Mercury, and suddenly the fire person feels rushed or criticized, while the Earth person feels overwhelmed by chaos. Water Mercury, Cancer, Scorpio, Pisces, speaks through feelings. They're intuitive, sensitive, and sometimes indirect. A Cancer Mercury communicates through care and concern. Scorpio Mercury can cut right to the heart of things, or sting if they are provoked. Pisces Mercury speaks in poetry, music, and metaphors, but sometimes leaves people confused. Two Water Mercuries can feel telepathic, finishing each other's sentences. But pair them with an Air Mercury, and suddenly you've got "stop being so dramatic" versus "stop being so cold." Air Mercury, Gemini, Libra, Aquarius, is social, witty, and clever. These are the fast texters, the talkers, the debaters. Gemini Mercury brings curiosity. Libra Mercury wants balance and harmony. Aquarius Mercury brings originality and unexpected ideas. Two Air Mercuries together, endless conversations, late night debates, lots of "we just talked until 3 a.m. and didn't even notice." The downside? Sometimes all talk, no action. Now, when Mercuries make easy aspects, like conjunctions, trines, sextiles, conversations feel natural. You finish each other's sentences, laugh at the same jokes, and fights resolve quickly because you get each other's thought process. But when Mercuries are in a square, 90 degrees apart, it's like one person is always speaking French, while the other insists on Italian. They hear each other, but they don't fully understand. Oppositions, a 180 degrees apart, can feel like constant debates, stimulating but exhausting. Here's an example. Imagine one partner has Mercury in Gemini and the other has Mercury in Capricorn. Gemini wants to brainstorm, bounce ideas, keep things playful. Capricorn wants a plan, a timeline, an actual result. Gemini gets frustrated that Capricorn doesn't know how to have fun, and Capricorn gets frustrated that Gemini never follows through. Can it work? Yes, but only if they learn to appreciate each other's style. Gemini teaches Capricorn to loosen up. Capricorn teaches Gemini to focus. Flip it around. Mercury in Sagittarius with Mercury in Aries. That's fire on fire. They will laugh, debate, maybe argue loudly, but they'll never be bored. Or Mercury in Pisces with Mercury in Cancer. Emotional, intuitive, sweet. They'll finish each other's thoughts, but may drown in feelings if they don't come up for air. Mercury compatibility isn't sexy like Venus or Mars, but it's the glue that keeps relationships going after the passion fades. It's what decides whether arguments spiral or get solved, whether you laugh together every day or feel like you're talking to a wall. Because at the end of the day, attraction pulls you in, but communication decides if you can stay. Back in traditional astrology, there were a few cheat codes for compatibility that don't get talked about as much today. But when you test them out, they make a lot of sense. They don't replace the deeper chart work, but they give you quick shortcuts to spot attraction and long-term potential. The first one is Venus for men. If you're a man, your Venus sign shows the type of woman you are drawn to, the qualities in a partner that feel irresistible. So a man with Venus in Gemini, he'll melt for witty, playful women who keep him laughing. Venus in Taurus, he'll crave someone steady, grounded, and sensual. Venus in Scorpio, he wants intensity, loyalty, maybe a little mystery. The man's Venus is like a magnet for his taste in love, and when you show up with the energy of his Venus sign, he'll notice. For women, the traditional rule flips to Jupiter. A woman's Jupiter sign shows the type of man she's drawn to, especially in long-term partnerships. Jupiter is about growth, wisdom, and what inspires us. So a woman with Jupiter in Capricorn, she's often attracted to ambitious, reliable men who know how to build something lasting. Jupiter in Sagittarius, she'll crave someone adventurous and free-spirited who can keep life exciting. Jupiter in Pisces, she'll be drawn to dreamers, artists, and people who feel a little magical. This doesn't mean she can't fall for other types, but Jupiter shows what lights her up in a long run. Then there's one of the most powerful old-school markers of compatibility, the Moon-Venus connection. When a man's Venus lines up with a woman's moon, it's relationship glue. His way of loving matches her emotional needs, so she feels nourished, seen, and safe. Example, her moon in Taurus with his Venus in Virgo. Taurus wants stability and comfort. Virgo shows love through devotion and attentiveness. Together it feels cozy, reliable, like they're building a life that actually lasts. This combo is so strong because it bridges attraction, which is Venus, with emotional fulfillment, which is Moon. And of course, we can't forget the Mars-Venus spark. If the Moon-Venus combo is glue, Mars-Venus is gasoline. When a man's Mars connects with a woman's Venus, their chemistry is undeniable. His way of pursuing aligns with her way of receiving love, and the result is fireworks. Sometimes literal, sometimes explosive arguments. But either way, the heat is there. Picture his Mars in Leo with her Venus in Aries. Bold, fiery, passionate, constant drama. Or his Mars in Capricorn with her Venus in Taurus. Slower burn, sensual, grounded, but deeply satisfying. Mars-Venus aspects are the reason you can't stop thinking about someone. The kind of chemistry that keeps you hooked even when you know they are probably trouble. These old-school compatibility rules aren't the whole story, but they are the shortcuts that explain why certain people just do it for you and why you keep falling for the same type over and over. Venus for men, Jupiter for women, Moon Venus for emotional glue, Mars Venus for fireworks. Simple, maybe even a little predictable, but scarily accurate once you start paying attention. People love to throw around blanket astrology rules, like fire and water signs could never work, or earth and air don't mix. And honestly, that's astrology for people who only read memes. The truth is, it's not about broad stereotypes. It's about how the actual placements connect. A Leo and a Scorpio might sound like chaos on paper, but if his Venus lines up perfectly with her moon, suddenly you've got devotion and attraction rolled into one. When the glue is there in the right places, you can overcome almost any so-called bad match. So, how do you test your own compatibility without spiraling into every single aspect in both charts? Here's a simple formula to start with. First, compare your moons. That tells you if you speak the same emotional language, if being vulnerable together feels natural, or if it feels like a struggle. Then check Venus and Mars. Venus shows your love style, Mars shows your desire style, and together they reveal if you are attracted to each other in the same way. Here's where the ancient rule sneaks in. If you're a man, look at your Venus. That's the type of woman you are magnetized to. If you're a woman, look at your Jupiter. That's the type of man you are drawn toward long term. And finally, check for Moon-Venus harmony. That's the relationship glue. The one that makes you feel like, oh, this person actually loves me the way I need to be loved. It's not the whole story. Synastry is way deeper than this. But if you run this checklist and see alignment, you're already way ahead of the average sun sign compatibility take. And just remember, this is astrology, not Tinder. If the charts don't match, it doesn't mean you're doomed. But if they do match, well, don't say I didn't warn you. And thank you for watching. If you like this video, make sure to check out this video right here. And I'll see you there. Bye!